Democracy is defined as government of the people, for the people, by the people. And going by this definition, the underlying implication is that in a democracy, the highest office in ranking is not the office of the president, the state governor, or any other designated position. With all due respect, and with no pun intended, the number one office in a democracy is that of the citizen. Yes, you heard me right, the citizen. But is that the situation in Nigeria, in Africa, and the rest of the world? Perhaps in some advanced democracies. But here in Nigeria, figure it out yourself. What usually obtains is that the citizens are only recognized in the period preceding an election. Politicians go the whole hog, trying to get just one thing, the essential thing from the citizens, and that is their vote. After that, case closed. The citizen has little or no access to the ones they elected, nor are they really consulted in issues that concerns them. Now, do you call that a democracy? Should that status quo be sustained? Aside from their vote, which is a civil obligation, what else or where else lies the power of the citizen? What should be done to occupy the absent office of the greatest office in a democracy, which is the office of the citizen? That is the focus of this episode of Nigeria Today. Many thanks for joining me. I am Charles Ibe. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday inaugurated what has been tagged in some quarters as the next level cabinet, assigning portfolios to ministers who are expected to help drive the vision and mission of the president's next level administration. These men and women are expected to provide direction and leadership which will help steer the country in the right direction. These men and women are also expected to act, motivate, and perform functions which will ultimately bring the desired change, especially in the living conditions of Nigerians, the economy, and general outlook of the country. Well, congratulations to all the ministers and congratulations to Nigerians. The citizens are looking up to them to do the needful. Well, I have some representatives of this special group who have carved out a special function for themselves as a form of representation of the citizens of Nigeria. Citizens Quest is a non-governmental organization with the core mandate to verify claims of government in the area of development and put on the scale the performance of governance in the service of the people. Right here with me, Chief Mrs. Obi Ndukwe is the National President, Citizens Quest for Truth Initiative. You're welcome to Nigeria
Thank
today.
You, sir.
And also, Chukwu Endwell is the National Vice President of the Citizens Quest for Truth Initiative.
Thank you very much.
Gentlemen and lady, you're welcome to Nigeria today.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
All right, let's start with what happened a few days ago. Inauguration of the cabinet, the next level cabinet. What is your take on the composition of what we have now as a long-awaited list of ministers?
Thank you. For me, it's the prerogative of the president to appoint whoever he wants to appoint. And it's also the responsibility of those appointed to discharge their duties. So it doesn't matter who is there. It doesn't matter for some people who we don't have enough women. But for me, the important thing is delivery, yes. Service delivery, result-oriented persons. Going back to the last 4 years, we saw how it was. Of course, even if Mr. President had a perfect executive, the National Assembly was some kind of clog in the wheel of progress. So it's not really about the cabinet. It's also about the other arms of government, including the judiciary. So the important thing is that he's done his own, he's chosen men and women of he believes who can deliver. So then it's for the judiciary and the legislature to give them the support, the needed support. So I think I'm okay. I'm fine with the composition.
All right, Mr. Chukwu, she said the president has done the needful. He has done what Nigerians expect of him. But now, looking at that composition, we'll have some technocrats, we'll have some politicians making that list. We have women as well, so which is good. But would you say we have square pegs in square holes, going by the portfolios that the ministers got at the end of the day?
Okay, thank you very much, Charles, for the question. You must understand that the president also is trying not to be political about what he has done, and from what you have said, it's a kind of mixed grill, and he's trying to also balance the system. If you notice, some new ministries were also established, and some ministers were also appointed in that regard. And from what you have seen, bringing technocrats, bringing politicians, and bringing people from different sectors, and also including women, is a sign that Mr. President has a vision for the country. He also wants to take the country to another level. But on our own side, as Citizens Quest, we see these persons as also citizens of Nigeria, and so they have a role to play in the administration of Mr. President. They also have a role to play in the lives of the citizens, in as much as they are citizens. So to say they are square pegs in square hole until they are put to test.
Okay.
So until they do the needful to also give Nigerians the impression that the responsibility that we're giving to them, they can carry it out effectively, then we can now justify the fact that they are square pegs in square. Yeah.
All right, let me take a cue from what you just said. The ministers, we are appointed, not elected. Now, in practice, what has been obtained over time, you find out that most often they tend to have their allegiance to the one who appointed them or influenced their appointment to do whatever bidding. Okay, now we have a party in place, APC, they have their manifesto. They will tend to go along with the manifesto of the party or whoever appointed them. Now, should that influence their delivery? Because you talked about delivery the service to the people or to the ones who influence the appointment. Which should it be? Which should be the ideal situation?
Okay, if you, at least you've been in this country for over a while, and you agree with me that the president has tried to be as flexible as he can. If you notice that some of the ministers who resigned in the last administration, they understood that the president wasn't ready for business as usual. So I think the people that they appointed recently should borrow a leaf from those ones and understand that it's not going to also be business as usual. The moment you go out of your way to do some other things, the president will make you understand that you are a citizen like every other person, and you will be treated as such. So they have a responsibility to understand that Nigerians are expecting a lot from them, considering the situation of the country.
All right, thank you very much. Now, before we go to your core mandate as Citizens Quest, I want to ask this question. In the mix of all of this, governance, democracy, and all of that, is the people, is the citizen, like I just said in the intro, it is the number one office. Not even the president, it's the people. Right. But now in Nigeria and in some other countries, especially in developing democracies, you find out that the people are not really in the mix, especially after elections. When it comes to governance, it's whatever the politicians or whatever the leaders want and not what the people want. Where do you think the problem lies? Is it with the people who do not know that we have this power, or is it with the system which do not really give them the enabling playing ground for them to really exercise that right they have as the number one citizen and not the officers?
Well, Mr. Charles, the truth of the matter is that for a very long time, the Nigerian citizen has been relegated to the background. I don't know whether the challenge is that they don't know their rights. I keep telling people that your fundamental human rights is concomitant to your fundamental human duty. And as a citizen, it is also your duty to hold accountable those in government. The Constitution is such, even though not a perfect one, but it's such that you have the right to ask questions. You have the right to also know what's going on in government. But I'm sorry to say this, the poverty rate has eroded all that. That's why you see politicians come to the citizens when they want their votes. The moment they're in office, they shut their doors. And of course, you'll be surprised that the people who actually worked for them to win the election are not even remembered, can't even have access to them anymore. Only maybe their family, stooges, and a few persons. Some even go as far as bringing people from nowhere and call them technocrats. And I want to ask, are there no technocrats within the Nigerian citizens? Are there no technocrats? So I think that it's time for us now to begin to do our thing, begin to take up the challenge, begin to know our rights and our limitations. And that is the reason why we came up with Citizens Quest. There should be that synergy between the government and the people governed. Because, like you said, the citizen is the number one office.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the people don't know.
All right, so we have an absent office waiting to be occupied.
That's right.
And now, Citizens Quest, let's come down to the key mandate. Like you did say, verifying the truth. I think the truth initiative. And I want to take it is from the actions or inactions of those in governance. The people that occupy positions, what they do and what they do not do. What they present to the people, is it actually the reality and all of that? So how do you go about carrying this mandate to ensure that the people, the citizens, are kept abreast with whatever the government is doing, for them to put in their own, making their own input?
Okay, Charles, what you forgot to also tell our viewers is that Citizens Quest is like a conglomeration of regular media people, journalists, social media influencers, bloggers. So it is a collection of people who have been in touch with some of these leaders. So we know how to dig the truth out of them, and we know how to barge into them. Before now, maybe because we're waiting for the government to set up properly, we're in other states, we've been in the east, we have been in the south, we decided to come to the north. We're in Abuja full time. I can tell you for free, we went to a particular ministry yesterday. We didn't inform the minister. We took him on our ways.
Is it a newly
Yes, a new one. We went there, went to meet him. We told him, without mincing words, we told him we're citizens, we're concerned citizens. We go to people like you, your ministry, government agencies, to tell them what the people want. You know, sometimes the mistake some leaders do is that you go to communities where people need borehole and you go there to do maybe a town hall. And at the end of the day, you have actually ended up doing nothing. But if you have a particular platform where people can say, this is what we want, and you place it there, and you know the media is very powerful. So the moment we came up with this, what we do is, like you said, we put on a scale what government is doing and what the people actually want. So that by the end of the day, when you put this thing on the particular platform and the citizens can look through it and government can also see through it, they now begin to see the reactions of the citizens over what they do. And the citizens will also see the challenges government is also facing to give them some of the desired requirements which they want. We also found out that in the system, there are some kind of bureaucracy and delay. It's not like those things are not in place, but there are some kind of delay. So it is when we now tell them that these citizens, the moment you continue with this process, these citizens will end up maybe bouncing to the wall and bouncing back. They will now realize the urgency to also begin to jump some of those protocols to get these things to the citizen. So our core mandate is to ensure that the voice of the citizens are heard by government officials who are also citizens, because maybe because of their level of operation, they will not be privileged to get some of the things the citizens are passing through. So when we play some of these things, they hear, and when some of the things government is passing through too, is placed on a platform, the citizens will also understand. We don't work for anybody. We're not an agency of government.
Yeah, non-governmental.
Let me add something too. Citizens Quest is like the voice of the people. Now, people are talking about revolution. We don't believe in violent revolution. For us, this is what revolution should be. Because the Constitution makes provision for that. You have the Freedom of Information Act.
Yeah.
So we have the right as journalists to ask questions. Now, I realize that the social media, the advent of social media, rather than unify people, it's dividing us more. Why? Because people don't have access to information. Some of the people appointed in government, even the civil servants, are very difficult. They don't want to give you information on anything. They feel that, look, we need to do this road. They just come up one day and begin to do road, without also informing the people, this is the reason why we need to pull down this building and do this road. So we decided to be the bridge, to say, look, we want to know what you're doing. Okay. And if you say you're not going to tell, because as reports are uncensored, they are live reports. Yeah. We go to places, we don't ask you, we go on our own to verify. If we see a press release, government said, we've done this project here, we'll go there.
Yeah.
To find out. And when we go there, we don't just see and return. We ask questions. We talk to the people, the residents, motorists, and the rest of them, to find out if truly these things were done and how, whether the government was prompt in providing those services. Right. Because one thing is approving a road contract, another thing is to get the job done. Let me give you a situation in Rivers State where RCC was awarded a contract since December 2014 to fix Section 2 of the East-West Road from Eleme to One. That road till today, no cash backing, no approval, and the contractor can't do anything. And there's a bridge on that road which is being threatened as I speak to you. Okay, and that is the road where you have all the tankers coming to Rivers State to lift oil.
And it's been verified that there was no money released.
There's no money, yes, up till now. We go to FEMA, we go to other agencies of government, we go and ask them, why is this so? There's a particular road in Rivers State along the East-West Road. We call it Bolu section of the road. It's in total disrepair. We went to the agencies involved, we went to FEMA, we went to Niger Delta Ministry, we also went to the contractors, Cetraco. Of course, even though they won't tell you some of the challenges they are having, but we found out, we realized that for a while, they were not paid. For 4 years, nothing happened on that East-West Road. For 4 years. Right, and then, but they said they are coming to...
Of course. Yeah. Now, going by all your explanations, one can rightly deduce that you are sort of like a watch.
That's right.
A watchdog on government.
That's right.
Look, these people are watching you every move, every step of the way. What you say you are doing, what you are not doing. We are taking notes. Now, beyond pointing out all these issues, what do you do further? How do you ensure that the needful is done? Okay, now you cited an example of the East-West Road. Government announced that we have awarded this contract, so and so billions or millions or whatever, but they've not released the money. The road is suffering. The citizens are suffering. So, establishing all these facts, what next for Citizens Quest?
Charles, you know that everybody's careful now because of the social media. Amongst us are social media influencers. We have bloggers, online publishers. So whatever we get on site, we report it the way we see it. And of course, nobody wants to be messed up. So they are very careful. The few places we've been to, even in some other states, we saw where contractors did shabby jobs. We reported them live. And in less than no time, we were informed again that they've gone back to site to fix. I'm not saying it's totally, the situation. We are getting closer to that. Why? Because our approach is different. We are not, we're not there to fight with the system. We're not there to use abusive words. We're not there to denigrate any office, irrespective of tribe or party affiliation. Exactly. We are there to complement your efforts. For instance, in Rivers State, there's a particular road, the NTA road, was bad, very bad. People were spending 4 hours at that particular spot. What did we do? We went there, interviewed motorists, interviewed those controlling traffic, and we put it on live. And we called out the state governor. In less than no time, few days after, the government sent the contractors to site to go and fix the failed section of that road. And then in other cases too, it's not yet Uhuru, but I think that many of them are now beginning to key in, and they are also becoming conscious, because you just, apart from being in the cabinet of the next level, you have a future. Yes. After now. So you don't want to be messed up. By the time you come back, people will say, oh, they gave you this appointment, you did not. I'm sorry to say this. For the Niger Delta Ministry in particular, because we've just started, our focus for now is the Niger Delta region. We are coming up. Now, for the Niger Delta Ministry, for 4 years, there was nothing done on that East-West road. And that is the road that connects the East to the West. Nothing was done. Absolute nothing. We don't know the reason. We hear all sorts of things, but ours is to challenge. That's why we went to pay a courtesy call on the new minister. We met with the Minister for State, and we presented, of course, he's aware, he's also a Niger Delta man, you know, and we told them that, look, the bureaucracy in government office is hampering the efforts of the interventionist agencies. And it shouldn't be. You can't say you created NDDC to go and intervene, and before they get approvals, it takes ages. They fly into Port Harcourt, they work 1 or 2 days in a week, and the next 1 week, they're in Abuja. Why? Because they have to get approval. So these are the things we want to address. In fact, we are even proposing that the Minister for State, Niger Delta, should relocate to the Niger Delta. And be there. And be there to be with the people, to see things for himself.
All right. Thank you very much. Nice initiative, nice advocacy, and all of that. But then, it will not really make the desired impact if the people, the citizens right now, I'm not talking about the elites, I'm not talking about the politicians, I'm not talking about the journalists like you and I'm talking about those people at the grassroots who might not, like you said, most people do not even have access to the social media, no matter, irrespective of how viral it has gone. There are still people who need to know their rights to demand for road, their right to demand for electricity, their right, it's a demand. When government puts this thing in place, they roll out drums and people dance. That's Why should you celebrate? They did what they have to do. So now, the people in the midst of this, how involved are they? How involved? I'm talking about the ordinary people. How much of awareness, sensitization do you carry out among the citizens to let them know, look, if they fix this road, it is your right for them to fix it. They didn't do you any favor. Yeah. What are you people doing in that in that regard?
Okay, Charles. When we spoke earlier, we told you that we interface between government and the people. In course of our operations, we have visited some states, especially in the Niger Delta region, and we have also made our findings and understood that the people too also need some level of education. We went to some roads that were constructed by the Niger Delta Development Commission, and we realized that even the people too are not helping matters. When we got there, we noticed that some persons, even after the construction of the beautiful edifice, the roads, they would not even want to clean their drainage, and they're waiting for government to come and do that. So when we do some of these things, even when we condemn government, we also tell the citizens their own role when these things have to be done. So the essence of also going, normally would have maybe decided to start using the normal media, the radio and TV, but the essence of going down to the level of social media and all that, because now a lot of persons are accessing it. We have people who even access the social media more than the regular media. So the essence of going to that media is so that it can get to those who are. Then we also go to sites, and so that the people too will also see for themselves. That's why in our logo, in our slogan, we say "See for yourself." So
now, just let me say something. You asked a good question, because how do the people get to know? Now, some persons don't have access to the social media, or even the regular media. Now, that is the reason why we take a trip to the local governments, to the villages, to the communities. We have our structures in the different states. So if we have anything in Akwa Ibom, the Akwa Ibom team will go verify the claims. And because you're a native, you're speaking in their language they understand. Do you understand? And like I said, we have been around for a while. Apart from being journalists, we all come from a constituency. We all come from a ward. We all come from a local government and a state. So seeing me on the train means that I am part of them. I am not a government official, which means what I'm doing is also to help my constituency. So we speak to them in their language. In some places we go to, we have to get an interpreter, assuming Nobody understands the language, but we are very careful where we have multi-ethnic situation. We make sure that if we are going to, for instance, the Ibibio speaking area, we must have an Ibibio person who will interpret. So, but with time, we are of course going to expand the scope using the town union, the market union, during their festival periods. We will be there and celebrate with them and also let them know. We don't believe in the violent approach.
All right, finally, we're running out of time. Your final word, especially to the new leaders, the next level administration, from the president down to whoever occupies anything. What's your final word, especially on the citizens' target?
Well, the only thing I can say is that Mr. President needs to begin to hire and fire. There shouldn't be any room for incompetent people. Once you can't get the job done, you should be fired. That's me. And then for those who are appointed, should know that they have it tomorrow. It's not about today. So if you get whatever you think you're getting now, what happens to you? So you fizzle out of the system. So they must sit up and deliver the dividends of democracy to the people that elected them, even if they were rigged in. But they are still representing people.
Yeah, people. All right, Mr. Chukwu, your final word.
Okay, my final word is for the newly elected ministers to understand that the next level is about the people. There won't be a next level if there are no citizens. So whatever they are doing, they should know that there are now active citizens who are like the watchdogs. Everybody is becoming exposed to the environment. So they should be very careful, because Nigeria has gotten to the level that the moment you do anything, everybody's aware.
That's right.
So they need to be up and doing.
All right, thank you very much. And I have been talking with Citizens Quest for Truth Initiative, and they are not mincing word in talking to the government of the day. Whatever portfolio you've been given, whatever position you occupy, remember, you are there not for yourself. You are not for the person who influenced you. You are there to serve the people. And citizens are watching. Citizens Quest are on you. They are watching your every move. Every truth, every lie you say will be put out there in black and white. That is the mandate they have, to report it as it is, and they are begging and they are saying, please do the needful. And we here on Nigeria Today, Television Nigeria, and we are joining this worthy cause, we are joining this advocacy. They will tell us what they see and we will report it exactly as it is. So please do the needful. Thanks for watching. That's the size of our package today on Nigeria Today. We'll do this again sometime. This is an ongoing conversation, and we will definitely have them back again on this platform to tell us how far the citizens who have been appointed have gone, what they've done right or what they've done wrong. We'll see you then. Thanks and have a lovely day.